China has a goal to reach food self-sufficiency by 2032. Just 2 decades ago, China was 94% self-reliant and has since fallen to just 66%. Even though China's population growth has stagnated in recent years due to its one-child policy and food security, still remains a challenge for the Chinese government because China has a big problem, and that's its deserts. 27.4% of land in China has undergone desertification, affecting around 400 million people, which is almost a third of the total population. This is why over the last decade the government has been working on new schemes to turn these problems around and successfully turn the desert green again. In this video, we're going to take a look at a remarkable transformation in the heart of what was once deemed an agricultural forbidden zone characterized by barren soil, and now, thanks to extensive ecological protection and refurbishing patient efforts, 27,000 hectares of desert have been turned into 211 farms with green corridors, creating 150,000 jobs for the local population, making this once uninhabitable region into a green oasis. In the heart of the Gobi Desert, a miracle is taking place amidst the sea of sand. A green region is developing. The Gobi Desert covers a large part of northern China and southern Mongolia. It's the largest desert in Asia and the 5th largest in the world, with a total area of 1.3 million square kilometers. The Gobi has a harsh climate and extreme temperature ranges, dropping to -40 degrees Celsius in the winter and rising to 45 degrees Celsius in the summer. It receives very little rainfall, averaging only about 100 millimeters per year. The desert is also affected by strong winds, especially in spring and autumn. These storms can reduce visibility, damage crops and infrastructure as well, and cause health problems for people and animals. Surprisingly, sand from the Gobi Desert can even travel as far as Korea. It's hard to believe that this mighty desert can be stopped and reversed, but there is a glimmer of hope in this southern part of the Gobi Desert. This is Ningxia, and on the foothills of these extremely arid mountains immense changes have been taking place. These are the Helan Mountains. It was listed as a national nature reserve in 1988, mainly protecting natural ecosystems and biodiversity in arid mountainous areas, including endangered animals and plant species and habitats. This extensive development and the exploitation of resources continued, and the ecological environment in the reserve suffered. However, in 2017, the Chinese government made a radical decision to stop all coal mining in the area and switch to wind and solar power, and by 2018, a pilot project was launched aiming at holistic conservation and the restoration of mountains, rivers, forest, farmlands, lakes and grasslands, which officially kicked off on the east slope of the mountain. The project includes a poverty alleviation scheme to employ people to work the land by developing wine-grade growing bases and planting shelter forest belts. What was once a harsh, lifeless, arid desert is now an incredible lush green oasis. Today it's home to 211 wineries yielding 36 high-quality grape varieties with an annual output of 130 million bottles of wine in China. Chinese wine is even growing in popularity, and Ningxia is said to become one of the most famous wine regions in the world, competing with Bordeaux in California. But how has China managed to achieve a thriving wine country in the middle of one of the harshest deserts on Earth? It seems almost unimaginable, considering just on the other side of the Helan Mountains is miles of sand dunes that regularly threaten this new oasis, but in fact it's this exact geographical location which has made producing wine in such a harsh desert climate possible. This region is located between 37 to 39 degrees north latitude, which means it is roughly at the same latitude as Bordeaux. The winemaking region in France, 30 to 50 degrees north latitude, is known as the Golden Zone for wine grape cultivation, which includes France, Spain and Italy, as well as California. And even though the Helan Mountains provides a slight barrier from the harsh Gobi winds, there was still another issue, and that's water. The annual precipitation stands at around 200 to 300 millimeters, but the annual evaporation is more than 10 times of that. And in 2018, forest authorities, in collaboration with Ninja University and other research institutions, launched a series of experiments on Helan Mountain, and they decided to plant a variety of co-tolerant, drought-resisting, and salt-tolerant trees. Farms and vineyards are encouraged to plant tree belts as well as flowers and use holistic and biodynamic practices that respect the environment. As you can see, this vineyard is a haven for wildlife. Farmers were also financially supported to build ponds and use the highest spec irrigation systems that conserve the most water. This region is also blessed with the world's muddiest river, known as the Yellow River. The Mandarin word for yellow is a reference to the fine silty sediments. The river carries 1.6 billion tons of it, flows out to sea every year. Many of China's oldest cities are situated on its banks, and it's considered the cradle of Chinese civilization. And even though the Yellow River is the second largest river in China and the fifth largest river in the world, the outflow of the river is just 10 of what it was in the 1940s and has dried up more than 30 times since 1972. The Yellow River has problems begin at its source, where droughts in the Tibetan Plateau have reduced the amount of water flowing downstream, and 80 to 90% of its water has been taken upstream for urban areas, industry and agriculture, financial to maintain its emerging wine country sustainable land management techniques and water conservation needs to continue to be a priority. The government is making regular checks and cracking down on any illegal activities in order for this green oasis to thrive for many years to come. Please show your suggestion in the comment section and also subscribe to my channel.